We all do it. We see someone and boom, in a split second, our brain's already written the first draft of their entire life story. We judge. It's just what we do. But how does that happen? And maybe more importantly, how often are we totally, completely wrong? Well, that's what we're diving into today, the science of those snap first impressions. So really, how quickly do you think you judge someone? A minute? 10 seconds? Try again. Research says it's about a tenth of a second. I mean, that is literally faster than you can blink. Now, it's not our fault, really. It's this ancient survival instinct, right? It's a leftover from a time when making a super fast call, friend or foe, could save your life. But today, in our world, that same instinct, well, it can get us into some serious trouble. But, talk is cheap, so let's put this to the test. How about a little experiment, right here, right now? I'm going to show you 4 different faces. Your only job is to pay attention to the very first thought or feeling that pops into your head, okay? Don't analyze it, don't second guess it, just notice it. You ready?
All right, here we go. Section 1, the first thought test. Remember, trust that gut reaction. What's your first impression?
Okay, first up. Take a look at this guy. What's the very first word, the first feeling that comes to mind? Got it? Good. Just lock that thought away for a second. All right, person number 2. What's your immediate reaction to him? Okay, hold on to that one too. And now for our third person, what does her appearance suggest to you? What's your instant read on her? And finally, here's person number 4. What's the story your brain is cooking up about him right now? Okay, so you should have 4 first impressions locked and loaded. Now, let's see how well those gut instincts of yours actually did. All right, now for the fun part. Section 2, the surprising reality. We are about to peel back the cover and take a look at the real stories behind these people. And I have a feeling there are going to be a few surprises. Okay, let's circle back to our first guy. Remember him? What did your mind jump to? Biker? Artist? Maybe something totally different. Well, he's a physician, a doctor. Yeah, this is Dr. David Aris. And he's not just any doctor. He's a Columbia-trained physician with a respected practice in New York City. And get this, a lot of his tattoos are actually medical-themed, including the caduceus, the symbol of medicine. It's just a perfect example of how an appearance our brain might immediately file under rebel or biker can completely mask the reality of a dedicated, super smart professional. All right, let's move on to person number 2, the charismatic, clean-cut guy. What was your first thought? Trustworthy? Successful? Someone you'd feel safe around? He was a serial killer. This is Ted Bundy. And honestly, his greatest weapon was his appearance. He looked so normal, so trustworthy, so all-American. And it was that polished, non-threatening look that masked the monster underneath, allowing him to become one of the most infamous predators in history. He confessed to killing 30 people. So, what does all this tell us? Well, it points to a huge flaw in what we call instinct. I love this quote, it just nails it. Instinct is the gift of experience. If you have no experience, then your instincts aren't any good. See, when we're just judging a face with 0 real information, our instincts aren't really instincts at all. They're just biases, guesses. And as we've just seen, those guesses can be spectacularly and sometimes dangerously wrong. So if our brains can get this wrong, is it just random, a roll of the dice? Nope, not at all. It turns out our mistakes actually fall into some very predictable patterns. So now let's bring back the other 2 people from our little test and see exactly where they and all these examples fit in. Okay, so our brains are kind of lazy. They follow a script, right? They use these mental shortcuts. So a tough or edgy look, that gets filed under dangerous or unprofessional. A clean-cut, attractive person, they get tagged as safe and trustworthy. Looking young or dressing casually,
That's probably inexperienced, and if someone doesn't fit the typical cultural look for a certain job, they might be seen as out of place.
So let's really look at that first pattern, the tough appearance getting misread as dangerous. We already saw this play out perfectly with Dr. Orris, right? Well, it also explains what you probably thought about person number 4 from our test, Jack Mook. I mean, with that boxer's build, the immediate read is tough guy for sure. The reality? He's a compassionate police detective who mentors kids at a boxing gym. It's the absolute classic case of a tough cover hiding a really caring story.
Now, the flip side of that is pattern 2, the polished appearance, being misread as trustworthy. We saw the most chilling version of this with Ted Bundy. And it is the exact same pattern that trapped people with person number 3, Elizabeth Holmes. Her whole CEO look, the black turtleneck, the intense stare, it all screamed genius and success. But in reality, it was all just a costume, a cover for massive fraud. And for that, she's now a convicted felon. And these other patterns, they're just as powerful. Think about a youthful appearance getting mistaken for inexperience. That might have happened with someone like Jessica Jackley, who co-founded Kiva, a huge pioneering microlending site. Or what about a cultural appearance being seen as out of place? Take Masaki Matsumoto, a super successful Japanese-American football coach in a sport where you don't see that often. Our brains might just automatically flag them as inexperienced or not a fit, completely ignoring their incredible accomplishments. So, after all that, what's the big takeaway? How do we actually start moving beyond just judging the cover? Well, here's the bottom line. These mental shortcuts, these snap judgments, they aren't some bug in our programming. They're actually a feature our brains use to get through a really complex world. The real danger isn't having the shortcut. It's when we mistake that shortcut for the entire journey. It's when we let that first impression build a wall instead of, say, opening a door to find out more. I mean, think about it. The tattooed doctor, the kind-hearted boxer, the fraudulent CEO. The real story is always more complex, more nuanced, and honestly, it's way more interesting than the cheap, simple one we make up in that first split second. So I'm just going to leave you with this question. The next time you feel that snap judgment click into place, are you going to stop there? Or are you going to decide to turn the page and actually read the story? Whose cover will you make the effort to look past?